Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to my show. Welcome to my webinar. Trust you're all doing well today. The last day of November. And here I am in the winters behind me. They're setting up the square for the beginning of Advent. The biggest performance they've ever done in the last 50 years. So it's cool to see what's going on behind me. It's been taking them about 10 days so far. So the shift in consciousness. I hope you can all hear me. I'm going to keep putting my glasses on and off as people ask questions and join the room, just because I can't see the small typeface, you see. So I see we have a few people here already. Amber, hi, how are you? Good to see you. I'm waiting for the guests to arrive and join us, and other viewers that want to participate in this webinar. But many will watch the webinar afterwards in any event. But ladies and gentlemen, the shift in consciousness is real. And what we do as individuals contributes to that. Everything that we do with a positive vibration or a low vibration has an effect on consciousness. And at this moment, there's this balance in the favor of the light, let's say, and we have opportunities to quickly shift this energy into our own lives. And how this energy shifts is how we begin to manifest and to create our own life purpose and our own life journey, or the journey that we're supposed to be on. So the shift in consciousness is happening, and there are many people around the world that we don't read about, that we don't see in the newspapers, that we don't see in marketing or any advertising anywhere, because that's the way it is. But there are many people around the world, millions of people like me, that are changing what they're doing because they understand who they are. They're now beginning to understand their life purpose. And they're connecting with other like-minded individuals. And what this is doing is these consciousnesses are merging. And as these consciousnesses merge, they become a super consciousness and they develop a life of their own. So if you've been finding yourself connecting with some interesting people of late, doing some interesting things, and generally sort of seeing a different atmosphere around you, you can see that this is a sign of a change in consciousness. And different people will come in your life now that will be there in the future. And at this point in time, we're saying goodbye to a lot of things. And we truly are standing on our own 2 feet, in our own body, with a clear mind, a purified soul, and a heart and body full of love. And for those that have been on the ascension journey, the awakening journey for some time, I believe that you should be seeing now and feeling now this change that's happening. If you're not feeling it, there's some work to be done. And if you're feeling a lot of pressure or a lot of, let's say, heaviness around you, it should be an indicator that there's something for you to look at, that there's something for you to heal, or something for you to close. And this is the energy at the moment. We're still closing old chapters, and it's in readiness for what's coming. And everyone's saying what's coming. The new earth is here. The shift in consciousness has happened and is happening, ongoing. The more people I connect with of like-mindedness adds another element, adds another frequency, adds another dimension. And as these things merge together, they become bigger and bigger and bigger. So you see it's a shift in energy, because consciousness is energy. And for those that have been on this journey for a long time, you should now be able to see it's not a light at the end of the tunnel. You should be at the end of the tunnel and ready to step into that bright world that you've created outside of the tunnel. What's left behind is left behind. Certain aspects will come forward into this new area that you're moving into. But we should embrace those things because they're meant to be with us. And those things that don't or won't or aren't, maybe they will be another day. But right now it's to focus on what we have got what we wish to create, what aspects we wish to change, and then implement the course of action. And that action is the step forward to close whatever doors we need to close, or to open whatever doors that we need to open, to cut ties with whoever we need to cut ties with, or to open ties with people that we need to open ties with. And really is to think about what we want as individuals, putting aside everything else that is in our life. And that includes family, children, friends, relatives, all of these things, and putting ourselves first. And there's nothing selfish about that, because without us, there is no future. You know, if we pass tomorrow, we pass tomorrow. Our future is no longer. So our future is what we're creating. We don't know whether we're going to be here in 10 seconds, 10 minutes, 10 years, or 100 years' time. So we can only really live in this moment. So what we create now is our manifestation, is our desire, is our wish. And these things should come from passion, from desire, from a place of love. And as we do this, these things start to manifest. And I see it every day in my life. And I know that the people that I'm connected to also see things in a new way on an everyday basis. Certain things happen, certain things change. And all of these aha, oh, this is why this happened. Oh, and all of the dots start coming together. And you form this outline image of where you're going and what you're doing. And you see that those things that are meant for your highest good and are meant for your life journey are those things that are coming easy. Easy is the wrong word, but they're coming, they're just happening, they're growing, they're blossoming. And those things that aren't supposed to be for our highest good at this point in time, or in our life at this point in time, those are the challenges. Those are the things that we can't quite resolve. And those are the things that are just really allowing time to pass, or we're we still believe that this has to happen. Maybe it's time to let those things go also, and allow just everything to happen, to materialize, to bubble away. Because one thing I know for sure is we're not in control of anything. And we know so little about so much. And when we allow things to happen, this is called living in the moment. This is called living in the here and now. This is called not making plans. This is not called worrying about money or paying the rent or paying the mortgage or paying. This is about living this moment. You are what you are with all that you have right at this moment. And if you find yourself living that way, every day and everything is precious. And this reminds me of Schmiegel, my precious. So this is living in the moment, and it is a challenge. It's something, it's ongoing work. You know, we see life, we start to put things in action and things start to happen, and we just go through our daily lives dealing with whatever comes our way in whatever way seems fit at the time. So there's no premeditation, there's no pre-planning, and everything just happens and everything just materializes. And if something that we desire is, we feel that it's from our highest good and from our heart, and we make attempts to manifest it, it starts to materialize. And this is just a pure indication that you're on the right path. Your signs and synchronicities will be there. Your guides will be guiding you. The signs and synchronicities will be with you. And the roadmap ahead doesn't matter where you're going. Just trust in yourself and just believe in yourself and believe in every aspect and every experience that you've encountered in your life as the truth, because that is the ultimate truth of everything, is your life experience, your encounters, your tete-a-tetes, your traumas, your abuse, everything. It's you. And with that group of ingredients, the recipe's already made. These things will just come back into synchronicity again, and you will start to grow and prosper. It's taken me 51 years to realize this. And I learn something every day. And when I connect with people or people connect with me, I don't ask why. I figure out the reason, or they figure out the reason. And one of my guests today, David Kam, if he remembers the time zone difference that he's on to us, should be joining us shortly. He's the founder of Earth Dollar, Mother Earth Trust, and various other humanitarian organizations. I see Dr. Sam Osmanagic has joined us this evening. And David has a life story to tell. He shouldn't be here. A series of events in his life meant he shouldn't be here on this planet. He was I'll leave him to explain some of his story. But now he has formed, let's say, a coalition with indigenous people in North America and African continent. And they've entrusted him to help solve poverty and to help indigenous people realize their full potential, shifting their consciousness and shifting everything about them and what they are. And they've bestowed upon him 18 million hectares of land as a guarantee. So David has created Mother Earth Trust, and is in the process of forming Earth Dollar. Earth Dollar is a cryptocurrency, and it will be released. Its ICO, its initial coin offering, will be live in January, 11th of January. The initial private funding request was launched on the 11th of November 2011 in New York. I was at the Bosnian Pyramids on that day with my team, and we grounded our intention and our cooperation with Earth Dollar, with David Kam. And, you know, I should tell you about the project that I'm working on, and how this is also an incredible series of events. And people want to say it's coincidence, but it's not coincidence. These things are meant to happen. And if I hadn't met this person, direct descendant of Nikola Tesla, back in 2014, things would be different. So that's what happened in August 2014. I met through a series of situations, a direct descendant of Nikola Tesla with his invention for hydroelectric power. And I questioned, was this guy real? Prove to me that you're a direct descendant. And all of this proof came, and all of these things happened. And we lost contact for 2 years because life happens that way sometimes, especially when you're on the ascension path or waking up. And we reconnected early this year. And early this year, he told me again, I have 3 patents now. I'm doing this. I've got hydroelectricity. I've got railway safety. I've got sustainable fisheries. I've got sustainable farming. I've got so many patents that I'm filing, and I need your help. And I want you to be part of this. And earlier this year, we formalized our arrangement into forming what is called today True Tesla Technologies. And other people that are around me at the moment have also formed this. And we went to the Bosnian Pyramids deliberately as a source of energy, as a source of inspiration, as a source of adventure and discovery. I've been to the Giza pyramids, and I've been to many other historical places in my life. I've mixed with indigenous people. I've lived with indigenous people. I've lived in places like Russia, Australia, New Zealand. I've lived my life fully. But when I went to Bosnia, and I've been to Bosnia a few times as well. I've lived in this part of the world for the last 10 years, but never heard of the Bosnian Pyramids, whether it be good or bad. So going there was our intention to ground our project, and little did we realize the effect that it would have on us in our group of people. And we stayed in a house close to the pyramids, And we lived in the moment. We lived with an open fire. We had food brought to us because the driveway was impassable. But what we discovered is quite literally life-changing. And you have to experience it to believe it. And you can read whatever you want about on the internet about the Bosnian Pyramids. But to believe it, go there and experience it. Because it's not what you imagine. It's not this system-posed image of pyramids. This is something far greater than that. This is a mystery. This is a discovery that I felt when I was inside the tunnels, and I mentioned this to Aideen at the time, who was our guide, that I felt an energy that this place was at one time either the center of civilization or the center of a healing part of the region. And the discovery 10 years ago by Dr. Sam is no coincidence. And if we look at what's happened in this region for the last 25, 30 years, we see there's been a lot of destruction, there's been a lot of aggression, there's been a lot of separation. But I do believe that the pyramids in Bosnia are a way of connecting people, as I believe they did before. So right now I'm going to bring Sam in, Dr. Sam Osmanagic from, I don't know where you are today, Sam.
Well,
good afternoon.
I'm back in Bosnia. I'm in Sarajevo.
Okay, good evening. Dobro večer. So that's my take of the pyramids at this point in time. Would you like to just go into some more of the pyramids, Sam, your discovery and where you're at today?
Well, gladly. Unlike any other pyramid project in the world, we do not try to convince anything to anyone. We just let people experience the site. It's been 12 years now since my discovery. The Bosnian Pyramids are located in central Bosnia, just 25 kilometers northwest from the capital city of Sarajevo. They are covered by soil and vegetation. When you say pyramids, we usually think about Egyptian pyramids, and we think of them as the tombs for pharaohs. However, the pyramids are built all over the planet: China, Indonesia, Cambodia, Mauritius, Sudan, Egypt, Italy, Greece, Canary Islands, Peru, Bolivia, Central America, US. That's one thing. The other thing, Egyptian pyramids are not tombs for pharaohs, no mummies in Egyptian pyramids. So in 21st century, we need really to define what the pyramids were and what was the reason they were built for. In the last 12 years, the Bosnian Pyramid Project has been viewing the site through 5 different aspects. Number one is of course archaeological. We started digging, we've been removing soil from the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, which is the biggest and the oldest pyramid on the planet. We've been clearing prehistorical underground tunnel network, which runs for tens and tens of kilometers. So archaeology is number one, very exciting. Imagine, we've been working on the site that's, according to the radiocarbon dating, 29,200 years old. That's first excitement. The second one, we realized that archaeology is not enough to understand the site. That's why we included many more scientific disciplines. Besides classical disciplines like archaeology, geology, paleontology, pedology, we have high-tech disciplines. We have geophysical screening, geothermal, georadar analysis. So, interdisciplinary scientific project reveals more. And again, it is not enough. We needed experts in energy phenomena to tell us about the energy fields, frequencies. They've been measuring electromagnetic fields, electrical fields, orgone energy, ultrasound, infrasound, and other phenomena, telling us that the pyramids are actually huge energy amplifiers, energy machines. And then that was not enough also. So we realized that the energy of the pyramids do affect our body, but also our energy body. our spiritual body. When I say spiritual body, I mean the spiritual senses. We realize that besides 5 physical, we have also 30 spiritual senses. Instead of only seeing and touching, we can also feel. We can feel the energies. We can feel other people's energy fields, the aura. So the fourth aspect is now spiritual aspect. And finally, the fifth aspect, the self-healing aspect. Realize people going to the tunnels, staying on the Bosnian Pyramids, which you show right now. People feel better. People come with different diseases. With the high blood pressure, it gets normalized. With the high sugar in the blood, it comes back to the normal level. People come with the asthma. They finally start breathing in the tunnels. They don't need air pumps no more. People come with all kinds of pains. The pains are gone. So, the underground tunnels are a perfectly protected place. But there is no bad cosmic radiations. There is no negative energy from underground water streams. There is no Wi-Fi signals. The Wi-Fi runs at 4 gigahertz, which is the frequency of the microwave, causing cancer. No Wi-Fi in the tunnels, no mobile phone signals in the tunnels. We have pyramid energies in the tunnels. 7.83 hertz, which is so-called Shaman resonance, the best energy field for our bodies, bringing us back into balance. That's in the tunnels of the pyramids. However, outside, 12 to 15 hertz. The next thing, very high concentration of negative ions. As we know in the medical science, the negative ions are good because they clear the atmosphere from dust, they raise the level of oxygen in our body, they kill viruses and bacteria. In your home or your office, my office, it's very low concentration of negative ions. It's about 100 per cubic centimeter. Downtowns, 400. Villages, 800. By the rivers, 1500. At the top of the mountains in the forest, 4,000. In the Bosnian pyramid tunnels, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter. They simply clear our body. So the moment you enter the tunnels under the Pyramid Valley, your body does not have enemies. No bad radiations coming from cosmos, no natural radioactivity, no phone signals. So the body cells are free to do their job. What is their job? To fix the problems in our body, to start the regeneration process, to start the self-healing process. That's why this is the fifth very important aspect of this project. And sure enough, only when applying all these 5 aspects, archaeology, science, energy, spirituality, healing, we can start understanding national sites, pyramids, but also megalithic sites like Stonehenge in England, Karnak in France, and Unshaw, Alistena in Sweden, and so on and so forth. So our approach to this huge archaeological discovery is different than any other. Usually archaeologists who run big pyramid projects in Egypt, in China, in Mexico, in Peru, they are rather closed-minded and they jealously guard their project. However, we need to open. Our project has become the most open project in archaeology. What does that mean? Well, we have open projects for professionals, for non-professionals. Every year, volunteers are coming to our place. This year, 2017, we had 300 volunteers from 27 countries working on archaeological locations. So now we give opportunity to young people and those who feel young at their heart to work with us, to do discovery. They become part of discoveries, discovering ancient concrete on the Bosnian Pyramids of the Sun, discovering artifacts, discovering organic materials. So this is a beautiful project and it has involvement of everyone who comes over here. This year we also had 50,000 visitors from all over the world, over 100 countries. And we established a beautiful park in our archaeological area. We purchased about 65,000 square meters of neglected land. It was wetland, it was swamp. We transformed it to this beautiful park, which is energy park and recreational park, and natural park and children park, park with the platforms for the meditations, for yoga, for dance, our main concert stage, every spring equinox, summer solstice, fall equinox, have the concerts, mostly spiritual music, people with the gongs, people with the drums, people with the beautiful mantras, they come, they join us. So it is becoming part of beautiful atmosphere of serenity, of a place where people from all over the world come, join, share the knowledge, information, and their smiles. So the Bosnian Pyramid Project has become the most active archaeological site, the most exciting project in the world, and it's open to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. I'm just going to mute you a second. David Kam's joined us, but that's okay. Sam, I'm going to. I did go to the park, and I'm just going to upload a picture now of the park. Just bear with me a second, because that was something that really, because we went with children, so that really was. Aideen actually took pleasure in showing us this park, and it was, I think from the photograph we'll be able to see that there were plenty of people. There were people there walking around. What's the future plans for the project? I understand that it's an open, it's the world's largest open source, let's say it's real scientific project. Is that a right definition of it? That is really lifting the box, opening the box of Pandora, lifting the lid of Pandora's box.
Well, you're right. This project is like no other project. Now, it is not run by the government, by universities, archaeological department, museums, Ministry of Cultures, but by non-profit, non-government foundation, which I named the Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation. We are independent, financially and intellectually. We can say what we see, what we find, we release all the information, no secrets, no play for the elite science. So, what we have in Bosnia is a discovery that will forever change the history books. That's something the elite science does not like, especially cultural establishment. Because those who control the past control the present. And now they have a different type of a play. The second thing, this project not only changed the history, but with the principles how the pyramid complex was built, is telling us there is a way to get clean and free energy. Namely, the shape of the pyramid is the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to the energy. The pyramid simply amplifies the energy. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, which is the biggest on the planet at its height of 270 plus meters, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, 147. So, below the pyramid we have huge iron plate. Iron generates electromagnetic field. What the pyramid does, it amplifies this electromagnetism. The second source of the energy, below the pyramid, 21 meters below, we have underground water stream. Water moves, releases negative ions. Number 3, 55 meters, another water stream. Between two parallel water streams, we have electricity formed. Number 4, natural magnetism. Number 5, ultrasound. How do we get the ultrasound? Well, when you have electromagnetic field, it hits a lot of quartz crystal, which is on the pyramid, which is in the tunnels, which is under the pyramid. And then there is so-called piezoelectrical effect, which generates ultrasound. The next energy form is the orgon, or life, or chi, or prana energy. We can measure percentage of orgon in contaminated cities, 25 to 30% on the scale from 0 to 100. In villages, 60%. On the Bosnian Pyramid and Bosnian Pyramid tunnels, it's 100%. So the pyramid simply amplifies existing natural sources of energy. That's why it is clean energy. That's why it is unlimited energy. And that's why it is free energy. Of course, the energy lobby will not like that. We have coal industry, which is based for the dirty industry. We have oil and gas, limited energy sources. But in our case, we have energy which is free. So we expect that in the future we actually, even though we're going to be coming with more and more scientific arguments, we're going to be having more and more obstacles. The next thing, I mentioned the self-healing aspect. You will be surprised how many people are coming because of this aspect. People are tired of pills getting from the pharmaceutical industry, which never resolve any problems. On the contrary, we are becoming weaker, our immunity is going down, we are getting more diseases, and we are buying more pills, and the pharmaceutical industry is having, blast, having fun with us, and then we depend on their pills, and we are never healthy. Instead of that, the pyramid energy can really heal you, because it gives your body cells opportunity to do the self-healing process, which is the healthiest and the quickest process. And finally, the next thing is, on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have teams of engineers and physicists who have been sending drones above it with certain scientific instruments, oscilloscopes, spectrometers, and the others. And the most interesting aspect is the electrical beam going through the top of the pyramid, which is 28 kilohertz in frequency. It starts narrow, 4.5 meters, and then it gets wider, wide all the way to 20 meters. When it is the strongest and widest, it's getting narrow again, and wide, and the narrow. In science, in physics, it is called the scalar waves. Now, the scalar waves are very important because they travel much quicker than the speed of light. As you know, based on Einstein's theory that the speed of light is the biggest speed in the universe, we have our physics and astronomy. However, it is not the biggest speed. The biggest speed is something 100 billion times quicker, which are the scalar waves. And we measure them on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Interestingly enough, those scalar waves are oriented towards the sun, because at the noon time, it's mostly south, afternoon southwest, evening west. In other words, they follow the path of the sun. What does that mean? Does it mean that scalar waves actually communicated with our sun, and they use our sun as cosmic gate to communicate with other solar systems and other galaxies? If the answer is yes, it would mean that this is the base for the cosmic internet. So, shortly, when we try to conclude about the purpose of the pyramid energy, number one, that would be long distance communication. Number two, to protect what is the most precious to us, and that's our health. Number three, to improve the molecular structure of the most important liquid in our life, and that would be water. Number four, to improve molecular structure of food. You put seeds in the pyramids, you plant it, it grows quicker, richer, healthier. Number five, using Professor Korotkov's technology, we've been measuring the auric field, the aura field, bioenergy field around our body before and after the tunnels. We have noticed a big improvement. Out of 700 people that we measured from March until November of 2017, more than 95% of cases, there was big aura improvement. People come with the aura, which is weak, which is discontinuous, because we've been exposed to the stress in our everyday living. They go to the tunnels just for 1 hour, they come back, they have beautiful continuous auric field. The next thing, number 6, are chakras. 7 chakras in our physical body. Nowadays, they are weak, they are not balanced. They go to the tunnels, they get almost perfectly balanced, they're much stronger, meaning there is a better energy flow in our body. The next thing, effect on our spirituality and our spiritual senses. The next thing, we build pyramids around, for example, volcanoes, active volcanoes. Instead of one catastrophic eruption, you're going to get a series of smaller ones. The next thing, earthquakes. You have a series of pyramids around the earthquake zone. Instead of a global catastrophic earthquake, you're going to get a series of smaller ones, meaning that pyramid energy can diminish catastrophic events. So, conclusion is that pyramid energy simply improves the molecular structure of anything, starting with humans, plants, animals, water, food, object, our planet. So, this clean, unlimited, and free energy has to be the future of humanity. Imagine civilization without oil and gas, no petrochemical, no auto industry as we know it, no pollution, no profit economy. That would be revolution. That is the first pillar of the future society. The second pillar of the free society would be the free flow of knowledge. And that's exactly what we have in Bosnia. Free energy, free flow of knowledge, people share instead of hiding. Based on those two pillars, we have society of free women and free men. Amen.
Thank you. Yeah, I can resonate. I totally resonate with what you're saying. And you know, my project here in Croatia, in Osijek, is in conjunction with Tomislav Tesla, and we are focusing on creating a sustainable living, creating like sustainable villages where people can, where there's open source information, where there's education center, where there's technologists, where there's IT guys, where there's everybody can work together in peace and harmony, and not have to worry about waking up in the morning and driving 50 kilometers to work. Their office is on site, and they're doing the things that they love and enjoy. And this, it's not an alternative lifestyle, it's setting up a parallel system within the current system. And it's a system of our choice. And you know, the beginning of the webinar, I was talking about the shift of consciousness. I firmly believe the shift of consciousness has happened. I know that I'm part of it, and I certainly know that you are, Sam, and I certainly know that David Kam is also. And I know there are many millions of us around the world that you could call us the unsung heroes or the unknown heroes. But I know your profile is a lot more higher these days with these discoveries. One of the things that my colleagues and I, you know, there was 5 adults went there with 3 children, and you know, I have suffered from sinus issues, and I know since I've left the pyramids, the last 10 days, my sinuses have all cleared, and my lungs are clear, and all these things. And I know that my colleagues have also had like spouts of inspiration. You know, 2 of them had a journey with a shaman the weekend before, so you know, the effects of the pyramid were more felt than in my case. But this healing center, I mean, one of the things I did notice there, Sam, is I could see the expansion of the park, and I could see that the infrastructure is being formed. What's the view of are the locals embracing you, or are the government embracing you, or are they sort of nonchalant?
Well, this project really brought rather polarized view of the people. People who come visit us, they give us great support, 100%. Some people who don't come, you know, they're saying, oh, we don't believe, it's impossible to have pyramids, we had no pharaohs, blah, blah, blah. The same thing is in the scientific world, the same thing in the public. It doesn't really matter. We do everything in a scientific way, we everything do in a gentle way, with certain methodology, we are open for everyone, we have nothing to hide. And now we've been expanding from those 5 aspects that I mentioned to the park, which brings, you know, energy aspect much more than before. We have, you know, those stone circles that amplify the energy in our aura field. We have double labyrinth of purification. We have a beautiful alley of organic fruit plants. We have a spiral botanical garden. We have the place, you know, for beautiful concerts. All of a sudden, it becomes a place of sharing. It becomes like an open community. You did mention communities, you know, Yes, the future should be not in the states as we have them, not in the religions that we have, not in the separations we call them, nationality, or it should be, people living together, finding common interests. That should be communities. That should be the future of humanity. I have visited many, from Damanhur in Italy, which is great experiment, spirituality and physical aspect. The Auroville in eastern India, 15 nations living under basically the same umbrella in the same village. I just came back from Brahma Kumaris in India, almost 1 million people. They're getting people off the street below the poverty line. They're giving them accommodation. They're giving them place to live, clean water, shower, which was unbelievable before that. They're giving them the way to combine spirituality with everyday life. So I think that should be the future of humanity. A future where there will be no elites and public. People should be really respecting each other. And I think through our example of open community, we offer exactly that. And yes, we're going to expand the park, we're going to expand our archaeological locations, we're going to expand our influence. The idea is to rise the global consciousness, but in a very nice, not manipulative way.
Perfect. My colleagues and I have a travel business, and we've already put together healing tours to come to the Bosnian Pyramids for 2018 in conjunction with a local shaman here. So it's not just the purposeful visit to the pyramids. We're also taking in some of the other archaeological historic sites in and around the Balkans. Sremsko Karlovci for the Romans and Osijek for the Turks and the Romans also. And Bosnian Pyramids is a place where we are going to be taking people for purposefully for healing, in a spiritual way, and very small groups. And I certainly do see that this is going to. I see it already, Sam. When I come to Bosnia next in January, I hope you're there and we can sit and chat. Because I think that you would also you'd be very keen to speak with Tomislav Tesla also. So there's lots of when I look at these connections that have just sprung up in the Balkans in the last 3 years in my life, I could see all of the synchronicities, and I could see the purpose of meeting Tesla, connecting with you, connecting with David Kam, and how we are as humble human beings have taken made a conscious choice to talk to people openly about shifts in consciousness, to talk about humanity, to talk about loving each other instead of fighting with each other, and living how we used to, because we actually know nothing about a lot of things, and our heritage, we don't understand our heritage, we don't understand where we come from. And man these days is so really willing to travel outside of the planet and all these other aspects. What I teach people is we need to remember who we are, who we were, where we've come from, what we've experienced, what we've gone through in life, and what we have on our own doorstep, what we have in our own vicinity. And Bosnia for me is an hour drive, so it's not far to go. I'm lucky. I have Kopački Rit and the Danube and the Drava, but this interconnection with the pyramids also. This is like a real. What I go back to at the beginning of my webinar talking to you was, I felt that this area was specifically either a center of an original center of culture or a center of healing. And I know that you've got lots and lots more things to discover as you bury your way inwards. Do you think that you will ever find or come across any signs of civilization that once there? Or is there a possibility that they could be inside?
Well, I hope that answer to both questions is yes. Number one, we realize that the builders of the Bosnian Pyramid complex, they are more advanced than us, because they knew the energy fields, they knew the power of the elements of sacred geometry, they knew the power of the shape of the pyramid, they knew how to locate the best position to build a pyramid. And then they used over 18 million tons of material to build just one structure, the Sun Pyramid. When you add the pyramids of the moon, and dragon, and earth, and love, I mean, you are talking 100 million tons of material. So they were able to maneuver with huge quantities of material. But more importantly, the purpose. They built the complex that work on so many different levels. Just level one, intersolar communication. In 21st century, we do not have this technology. So they are more advanced than us. So we simply need to try to learn from this complex. Because we have people who nowadays are saying, oh, it's impossible, there are no pyramids in Bosnia. Well, those pyramids, they've been there for tens of thousands of years. They will be there long after we are gone. So why don't we use our short lifespan and try to learn from them? So that's about the builders. As far as what we're going to find under the pyramid, because now in the tunnels that we are, it's still a long way to get to the area under the pyramid, because the tunnels are kilometers and kilometers. You are able to see some of them, and you know that besides the builders 3,000 years ago, we had another civilization who sealed them off 5,000 years ago. So right now we are clearing that filler material, we are placing the wooden support. It's very slow and tedious process, but eventually, like we cleared 2 kilometers up to now, eventually we're going to get under the pyramid. What we're going to find there, we don't know, and that's the beauty of the research. But I'm hoping that after we did discover 5 chambers so far, from 30 to 50 square meters, under the pyramid, most probably a huge open space, we discover water, a healing water in some of the tunnels. Under the pyramid, most probably a big artificial lake with the healing water or supercharged water. And I'm believing to find more artifacts that will explain how the complex works and how we can benefit our society. And of course, more info on our website, bosnianpyramids.org, where people can read our scientific reports, healing testimonials. They can learn how to come and volunteer with us next season, June, July, August, September, and join this beautiful project. So bosnianpyramid.org.
And I know that you have strong connections with the I don't remember the famous Russian guy, the pyramid guy. I know that because I've lived in Russia and frequently go to Russia. The Russians are spending a lot of time and energy on creating their own. Creating their own pyramids.
Yes. Yes. We have actually 3 major guys in Russia who deal with the pyramid energy. Number one is Dr. Alexander Golod, who lives now in Moscow. He built 16 pyramids in Ukraine and Russia. He has done a lot of experiments when it comes to the healing and medical experiments, conductivity experiments, electrical experiments, proving the power of the pyramid energy. Unfortunately, his major pyramid near Moscow, which was built in 1999, was destroyed, dismayed during a very suspicious tornado. Tornadoes never hit Russia, or Moscow, and in this particular case, it hit only Moscow's suburban area where the pyramid was located, and it was destroyed. The second guy is Valery Uvarov. Valery Uvarov is a famous pyramid builder who's been building pyramids in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and in Siberia, in the town of Tomsk. I was there a couple of years back as the first foreigner to visit the site. So far, they have 13 pyramids built, central pyramids in the middle, which is used by the local grocery store owner. Actually, he has a chain of the food stores in Tomsk, and he's been building this complex as a private complex, and he stores the food, the drink, and the pyramid, and then it sells it very successfully. And Valery Uvarov very often comes to Bosnia. They're good friends. He knows about the pyramid power. He knows the elements that have to be part of the pyramid complex, like the shape of the pyramid, perfect orientation to the cardinal points, east, west, north, south. has to be iron for electromagnetism. You have to have certain slope. What he uses is the slope of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, 52 degrees. You have to have underground tunnels because the cavities, tunnels, they amplify the energies. You have to have crystal amplifies energy and so on. And despite all of that, when he comes to Bosnia, he says, hey, your pyramids are 30 times stronger. So there's the second guy. The third Russian guy is Professor Konstantin Korotkov, a German who has 17 patents, and some of them they can clearly show the effects of being exposed to the pyramid energy to your body, physical, mental, energy, and even spiritual. So we've been using his aura measurement machine in Bosnia, and he's been there and he's coming back next year. Those Russians, they've always had good theoretical science. And these three guys are really proud of very successful Russian approach to the pyramid.
Perfect. Sam, is there anything else that you want to share with us before we invite David to come and speak with us too?
Well, I thank you for inviting me today, and thanks to the people who are listening to this. I feel that I'm simply a tool of the pyramid. I'm like a PR. My role is to invite people to come and experience the Bosnian Pyramid sites, to experience the energy. Like I said at the very beginning, we don't try to convince anything to anyone. We share the information and knowledge we have so far, but everybody comes and everybody has its own feeling inside, and we know that the pyramid energy has left such a substantial influence on the people. And like you said, it's been a life-changing experience. And in most cases, the pyramid energy does affect us on DNA level. It is here to improve us as the human beings. So everybody is welcome. Our season from March until December. You can come, of course, anytime. All our locations are open 365 days because we take this project very seriously. This is not government-run project. 8 to 3, you come 10 minutes to 3 o'clock, they tell you come tomorrow. No. It's always open. Our guides are over there. Everybody's waiting, for people to come. Because I think that this project literally will change the face of our planet.
Thank you, Sam, very much. I look forward to touching base with when I'm down in Bosnia in January, if you're there, or in March when I come down with my shaman and guests. Thank you very much.
Let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. And David, good afternoon to good morning to you. Good evening to you. Good morning. It is in your time zone, I understand. David Kam, founder of Mother Earth Trust and Earth Dollar. Welcome, David.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that's great. I was very fascinated by Bosnian Pyramids ever since it was first announced. And I'm glad to hear all the things that Sam explained. And also interesting is also there's a lot of pyramids in China also that's unexplored.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, David, I know that you and I are connected some months ago through another webinar that I did on I think it was shifting consciousness, or no, it was presenting the Tesla Sustainable Village to the world. And since then, I've been cooperating with you and helping you with the Earth Jubilee and the build up to the release or launch of the Earth Dollar and the Mother Earth Trust platform for helping or contributing to combating global poverty. Can you give us a little bit of short background? I know I'm going to post some links to your YouTube videos. Could you just give us a brief background, David, and tell us where you are at right now with Earth Dollar?
Yes, I met Dean at another webinar, and actually he helped us a great deal on the Earth Jubilee, and also we announced the Earth Dollar, the launch of it, at the United Nations, and Dean was integral to helping us set that up, and we really appreciate all the things he has done. And right now, we'll have in the future a relationship or strategic alliance with the Tesla groups that Dean is spearheading. And the Earth Dollar is nothing more than an exchange of energy, which is when you use money like the U.S. dollar, you're actually exchanging value or energy with another person or a store. So it's important that when we exchange energy, that this energy is clean. That means that using a currency like the Earth Dollar, example, is that the Earth Dollar is a currency that is sustainable, and it has a policy that the Earth Dollar is not used for war, but to restore the planet. So that when the energy is exchanged, it's the same as exchanging the pyramid energy, is that this energy is not linked to war or destruction of our planet like that. So that's the whole idea behind it.
You've established treaties with several indigenous peoples in North America and in Africa, I believe, and they've entrusted their assets to you, I understand.
Yes, we establish treaties and agreements with indigenous nations because they give us sort of like the access to lift them out of poverty of protecting the land. And we came out with a solution whereby wealth is generated by restoring the earth. So as trees and lakes and the oceans are restored, people get wealthier. So that's the whole idea, to create a sustainable planet while overcoming poverty. So it's a two-in-one solution.
Okay, so the idea is for us to plant forests, to grow new crops with organic substance, for example, to clean our river sources, to cherish basically Mother Earth, as well as bring sustenance and sustainable lifestyles to those that are suffering at the moment, particularly the indigenous nations.
Yes, that's the case. Example, if it was a situation in Bosnia, let's say example, there's 1 million trees in one of the Bosnian forests, but if we plant another 1 million trees, it increases the wealth because there's more trees now, backing the value of the Earth Dollar. Basically, double our wealth by planting double the amount of trees. So it's a restorative economy instead of the extraction, which is mining, clear-cutting of forests, and extracting human energy. Because right now, the biggest energy that's being extracted and exploited is human energy, our time, our potential, our energy, and also our creativity to being exploited to support 1% of the population, while the 99% are used sort of like the movie The Matrix, or you say they're batteries. And that's like the same similar idea that's being created right now in this world.
So what we're trying to create is humans investing in themselves and Mother Nature, and in their own wealthy, healthy lifestyle. Wealthy as in yes. full, yeah.
Yeah, let's take example. One good example is you're working on the Tesla, but Nikola Tesla he's a brilliant person, but he had to go to J.P. Morgan to be able to finance his project. And J.P. Morgan really exploited him. And that is what's happening. All the projects for around the world, that is even for free energy, also for organic farming, permaculture, they all need money. And what happens is that the people who are wealthier, a lot of them, but not all of them, will want a huge piece of the slice, and they take control of it, and they become wealthier and monopolize these projects. And that is, if we cannot break out of that cycle, it always continue that way. So we like the Earth Dollar, is to provide a means to not let that happen, to give the people back the power back to the people.
Yep. So it's and eventually you're obviously going to bring in other indigenous peoples and other sustainable projects that help contribute to changing the planet and therefore enhancing the value of Earth Dollar. This again is a global project. It's a global project, the same as the pyramids in Bosnia. It's an open source project, and I know that the launch of Earth Dollar in February, the public launch of the ICO is in February. What is the brief or the remit for post successful funding of your ICO? What is going to happen? Are you going to be what's going to happen? What are you going to do to encourage the growth?
Actually, our idea is that once the fund is created, then after the fund is created, then afterwards, people can submit projects to the general public to vote on the projects and to get it funded. So let's say, example, we have $100 million or $1 billion in funding. Then people can submit the projects to the general public, and they vote on which project to support. You know, if most of these projects have to follow some guidelines that it has to be for humanitarian purposes, is not destructive to the earth, and also most of the projects we calculate the most successful project is benefits the humanity the most. Let's say a project that benefits 1 million people versus 100 people, we would probably support the ones who benefit the people the most. So there is a voting criteria that is structured that way to so the money is fairly distributed to these projects.
Okay, and this will be open globally?
Yes, it's an open source and it's open globally to the world. And the voting is actually people holding the Earth Dollar initial little bit of Earth Dollar will be voters, because we want to keep it within the membership of people who are members of the Earth Dollar, the community which is helping heal the planet and overcome poverty. Okay.
Perfect. And I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, David, I because I know your personal life story. Do you just want to share a short snapshot of where you've come from and where you are today?
Yes, my parents are the Hakka people, and we one thing is that we are called revolutionaries. We set up our own country called Singapore. And we came from extreme poverty when actually there was war right after World War II. What happened was that after the war, there was also the Cultural Revolution in China, and people were starving. And actually, my eldest brother starved to death, so he died from starvation. There was not enough food to go around. Even my father was so after my eldest brother died of starvation, so he tried to escape from China by swimming across from China to Macau and in the ocean with a bicycle tire strapped to him. And the first time he failed to swim across. The second time he was a successful swim across too. So it was there he started a life in going from Macau, then after to Hong Kong, knitting baskets and selling baskets on the street for about, they made about $1 per day. And it was extreme poverty. But originally, from my mother's side, we were not supposed to be poor. It's just that the land government took it from us, took it from our families, and did not do anything with the land. They just held it and the land, and that's why the starvation came, because they wanted to try to control how the way the land was going to be farmed, but they didn't know how to do it. So they were waiting for people to actually take over the land, but it never happened. So they were not allowed to farm to produce the food while they were starving, you know. So that was a strange situation also. And then afterwards, my parents immigrated to as refugees from Hong Kong to Canada, and they were very, very lucky to be able to come. And when they arrived to Canada, they had no money, and the church gave them, actually the Canadian government gave them $5 to send money back to send letters back to China saying they're safe. And that's how they started working right away the same day they arrived in Canada. So that is how they struggled with poverty, and they were able to. They had lower class jobs. My father was a cook, and my mom was cleaning offices. But they put us through college and university. So they were basically put all the hopes and dreams into their children for the next generation. And I guess a lot of people are like that. I'm not sure in Bosnia it's like that also. Is that like that also, Dean?
Yeah, everything is for the family.
Right. How about your family? Do you also put all your energy into your family?
I put for my children, yeah, my children, yes, and my family around me, yes. Everything is geared towards them, but I'm slightly different because I empower my children to explore outside of the box.
Do you have any other questions?
No, that's it, David. Thanks. It's. Is there anything that you would like to say to our listeners before you go?
You can find out about the Earth Dollar at the earthdollar.org. If anybody's interested, because I think people can sign up to get a newsletter like that, because if you have also any projects that you want to do in the future, we're interested in being able to finance your dreams and be able to everyone on the earth to reach their full potential.
Okay, David, thank you very much for joining us today. I'll send you the link to the video when it's live, and wish you well and look forward to meeting with you sometime soon next year.
Thank you so much. We'll be meeting very soon.
Okay, thank you, David. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. An interesting webinar. There's lots and lots of things that we don't know that merit discovery. I for sure will be leading small groups of individuals to the Bosnian Pyramids next year, from March through to from the first full moon in March to the final full moon in October. Healing retreats, and you heard from the horse's mouth the benefits of the pyramids I don't need to do any marketing. But the journey with my groups is 6 days in Bosnia, Croatia, Serbia, 3 days at the pyramids, living in a house next to the pyramids or 100 meters from the pyramids, connecting with the shaman, having a traditional shaman ceremony, healing ceremony, if people want to partake, and really connecting with the beautiful nature and presence and energies that are felt in this particular area. This is the shift in consciousness. This is not a time for fear. This is a time for exploring. This is a time for love. This is a time for sharing. Not because it's the holiday season. It's the holiday season every day. We need to give thanks for our presence here every day, to appreciate the work that we do ourselves, for ourselves and for humanity. And I know today, you know, I had to think about today and really recognize that I've presented or brought together here today 3 conscious living gentlemen that are really putting their heart and soul into helping to transform not only the energies, but also the way we live and also the way we interact with each other and human nature. And I think that, I believe that is worth more than anything ever we have owned or possessed in our lives. It's a free world, free society, free thinking without controls and without fear and without poverty. All of those things can happen when we make that conscious decision to change them first ourselves, then we can manifest, and then we meet other people. How I met David is purely random. How I met Tomislav Tesla is purely random. How I met all of these people, how I've met all of you is purely random. But out of randomness, there's some divine inspiration and there's some divine energies working. So we should be listening to them and exploring them far more than what we're doing on a daily basis right now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. It's been a pleasure. I trust that it was enlightening for you. If you have any questions, drop me an email or go to my website, askdino.com. There's further information there about the Bosnian Pyramids and about the retreats that I'm offering. I will also write an article tomorrow and post it on Saturday to summarize the event and give links to Earth Dollar and the Bosnian Pyramids website itself. Thank you once again. Take care. Goodbye.